Are you considering Asana or Microsoft Teams? Are you not sure what platform is best for you, whether you're an individual entrepreneur or you work for a larger business? Well, if that's the case, then you've come to the right place, because today I'm going to be comparing Asana versus Microsoft Teams, and hopefully by the end of it, you'll be able to work out what one is best for you. So today, I'm actually going to run through 5 different aspects of this review and comparison. I'm going to be looking at the companies so you can see what they're like side by side. I'm going to be showing you a demo of the functionality and how they kind of differ in terms of interfaces and what they kind of offer. We're going to be looking at the pricing so you can see what one's more cost effective, or you can see what you can expect for a plan to cost you depending on your needs. We're going to be looking at other customer reviews, so it's not just my own opinions and my own thoughts. We're going to be looking at what others believe as well, having used the platforms. And I'm going to be providing some recommendations at the end, so what I personally believe would be right for you depending on your own context and needs. So first and foremost, let's just have a look at Asana versus Microsoft Teams side by side. So if we start with Asana, it was founded back in 2008. There are around 1.3 million paid users at time of recording, and the operating systems behind this platform are Mac, Windows and Linux. There are mobile compatibility for Android, iOS and Windows, so whether you have either one of these devices, you'll be able to access it. And the deployment is cloud and mobile. So when I say cloud, everything is stored in the cloud, so everything's kind of saved for you, and it will be accessible. It won't be on local hard drives, as an example. And if you want a high level overview of what the platform's all about, it is a cloud-based project management platform. So that's kind of key. It is a project management platform first and foremost. It was designed as such, and that is how it is mostly used. And it focuses on simple task and project management methodologies, as well as team collaboration. So that's a big aspect of the tool as well. And it enables teams to easily track every aspect of a project from planning through to execution. Now, if we look at Microsoft Teams, you'll see here that it was actually released several years later. So it's actually 2017 that it became a tool that was kind of ready for deployment and customers started using. And you'll also notice the drastic difference in users. So at time of recording, there are around, or estimated to be, 270 million users. Now, not all of those are paid. They do have a free plan, so do bear that in mind. But they do have a considerably larger market share in that respect. And from the other aspects here that we're comparing, you will actually see that it is exactly the same. So the operating systems, mobile compatibility and deployment are all exactly the same. In terms of its high-level overview of what Microsoft Teams is all about, if you're yet to use it or don't know much about it, it is essentially a business communication platform, and it was developed by Microsoft as part of the Microsoft 365 family of products. So example, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Project, etc. They're the kind of products that are associated with Microsoft, along with their hardware as well as your PCs and laptops and things like that. Now, Teams primarily competes with the similar service Slack that you may have heard of, and it offers workspace chat and video conferencing along with file storage and application integration. So if we just look at this side by side, you'll notice that Asana is a project management tool first and foremost, and Teams, if you can imagine, is more of a communication tool. So they're not actually exactly the same. They weren't developed in the same way. They kind of focus on different needs and stakeholders. However, a lot of the functionality does overlap, and you can use them if you're running projects or you kind of want to almost create a repository and place to store project information as well. So I'm going to jump into a quick demo of both of the tools, so you get an understanding of what the interface is like, and you can kind of get an understanding of how you would use it should you proceed to sign up. So I've just opened up my Asana account, and you'll see first and foremost I'm in on a web browser. I'm in Chrome, and what I've done here is I've gone to the home interface and I've created a project just before this video, just to show you and kind of walk you through the main functionality. On the left hand side, you'll see this interface here. You've got an area for tasks that are kind of bespoke for the individual using, or the user account that's logged in. You've got an inbox, which obviously has a lot to do with kind of communication. You've got a reporting tab as well. Obviously that has a lot to do with the projects that are set up. You've got portfolios to manage your projects, and you've got goals as well. And then down the left-hand side, you've got what's known as a workspace, and that can be used to differentiate different files, and also be used to kind of get different collaborators working on different things. You'll see the invite people button as an example there. But it also, it's a storage place, and it enables you to keep everything in one place. So you could have different workspaces for different projects as an example. As I said, I'm going to open up a project that I created before this video. And as you'll see here, this is a project plan that I've created using the functionality, and I've kind of set it up. It's a very kind of high level project plan that's applicable to most different projects. And you'll see that I've separated it by phase and task. So we've got the kind of, or milestone and task. So you've got the key phases here, and then you've got the tasks underneath. You'll see here that I've not assigned anyone to it. I've not added start and due dates. We've got a status column as well, so we can track the status of the tasks, an area to add comments. So it's a project plan that I've essentially added here, and this is under the list view. So this is your project plan aspect of the tool, the functionality, and this is where you can obviously track project timelines and things like that. Now with Asana, you'll notice that there's different tabs at the top, all created by default. So you'd get all of these when you set up a new project, and they all interflow with one another. So I've set this up in the list view, and you'll notice if I head over to the board view, so this is obviously Kanban project methodology, you'll notice that it's all kind of pre-populated. So I didn't do this in the board view, I did it in the list view, and it transfers over. So that's one benefit of working in Asana or a project management tool. It's kind of all integrated. So you'll see this here. If you wanted to work in this way, you could. If you wanted to work in the list view, you could. You start making changes here, and it will flow through here as well. So as an example, if we look at the research task, I'm going to make that complete. I'm going to do that in both kind of areas that's possible. If I go to the board, you'll see that that's now complete. So it all flows through, and that obviously there's some automation working in the background there. So really, really useful. We've got a timeline. So this is your Gantt chart view. And as you'll see at the moment, nothing has been kind of created, and that's because we've not put any dates in here. If I start to do so, you should see, so I'm just entering some dummy data here. If we enter some dates in here, you should see on the timeline that it has appeared. And this is where you can start adding some dependencies as well between tasks. And it's another way of managing your project. It's obviously a very, very visual way of doing so. So that's your timeline view. It's obviously another kind of project management terminology known as a Gantt. We've got a calendar view here, again created by default. It's looking into the other tabs as well. So you'll see research was completed on the 6th, and that's why it's entered into the calendar. We could change things to in progress as well, and that would obviously come up here. You'd get different colors as well, and you could change the colors should you need to. Now, workflow is one of the main benefits of using a tool like Asana, and that essentially is the ability to automate some of your tasks, and also to get different individuals kind of contributing at different points. So you can have things like forms to collect data. You can use templates which are already pre-created, so you don't need to create them from scratch, and you can integrate with other apps as well. So I haven't set this up for now. It's something that you will want to explore, particularly if you do opt for Asana. Now, dashboard, this is all created by default. I haven't done anything here apart from enter some of the information in the previous tabs. So it's obviously running calculations in the back end, and this can all be edited as well. But as you'll see, this has all been created by default. There's nothing I need to do here. So it's really, really valuable, and it gives your stakeholders an idea of what's going on. I've also got messages, and this is where the communication piece of Asana kind of comes to the fore, and this is where you can communicate with different individuals in your account. This can be a really, really good place to kind of have discussions on your projects, provide status updates, or communicate in any way you need to. There's also a files tab which enables you to upload any important files or resources that may be useful for the project. It could be something like a statement of work. It could be something like a business case. You get the idea. It's a place to store it. And you could obviously do other things like set the project status up here. You can provide a status update. So I think if we were to go on track, it's going to do that. Yeah, we would create our status updates here. We can give a summary, what we've accomplished, what's blocked, next step. So it's a very, very good solution. And yeah, it's a project management solution for first and foremost, as you'll see here. There's a lot of different things. And this is obviously on the overview tab for that project. You can add things like milestones, goals, project roles, etc. So as you'll see, it's a very, very useful project management tool. The developers have really thought about how it all integrates together and saving you time and things like that. So that's Asana in a nutshell. I'm now going to head into Microsoft Teams, and do consider that there is a online, you can access it online. So you just log into your account and go to I believe teams.live.com and then log into your account. And then you've got your access to your Teams here, but you can also download a desktop app and you can manage it through there. So most organizations do that. I actually use Teams in my day-to-day role, and I actually use the desktop app, and we'll explore that in a moment. I'm just going to show you what it looks like on and you can get desktop notifications bottom right here, by the way. I'm just going to dismiss that. But I'm just going to show you on the online version, and I'll show you the app, just to show you how it's very, very similar. But if you can imagine this, it's very, very, it's quite basic in that if you're comparing it to Asana. But on the left-hand side is your main panel. Chat is kind of the main interface, and I'm going to walk you through that in a moment. Or that's where you use the communication aspect of the tool, so you can set up separate conversations and they'll all be listed here. So I've set one up just for the purpose of this demo, and we'll walk through this in a moment. But if you have multiple chats, they'll all be listed here. So this is where you would go and obviously communicate with different stakeholders or people in your project team. Meet, so that's the video conferencing aspect of the tool, and that's part of the messaging aspect as well, so do consider that. You've got a calendar as well, so that's where you can add, obviously it's loading, this is where you can add all your to-do list and things like that as well, so that obviously mirrors the calendar functionality of Asana. Activity just gives you a feed of what's going on, so whenever you're mentioned or applied, and this you'll get notifications here when things happen, so it gives you an idea of kind of movement and progress, so it's worth checking. At the top right, you've got things like the ability to set up meetings or even hold a meeting at the precise moment. So if I go back into chat, one thing I want to show you, and this is where it's very, very different, but this is almost the files section in some respects, or the messages section. I've set up a chat with someone, an account, just to show you, and I've set up a project as well as a means of storing stuff. And what I've done is I've added a project plan template. So this is very, very similar. And if I click that, so this template has been shared. So all I did was drop it into the chat. You can also set up workspaces here, and you could drop it into the workspace. But once you drop it in here, you'll also notice that there's a file section, and it will list all of the files that have been kind of uploaded. And then when I've clicked that, it's opened it online. And this is the online aspect of the tool, or part of the tool. And as you'll see here, this is Microsoft Excel. So it's using the Microsoft Excel product, but it's using it in the cloud essentially. So if I make changes here, it's going to save, or somebody else makes changes and they've kind of been given editing access, then it will save and it will kind of reside in the cloud. So no one's having to save offline copies. I mean, you can if you wanted. You just pretty much go File, Save As, and save it as a download as a hard drive copy or downloaded copy. But what you're getting here is the ability to add something in real time. So it is good for sharing, and it's good for working on templates or documents at the same kind of time as other people. And you don't need to kind of keep sharing it back and forth through Outlook or some other mail application. So this is how you would have your project plan. And yeah, this is how it would kind of work in Teams if you wanted to use it to manage projects. You'd be sharing a lot of documents, you'd be thinking about how you're storing it, but you'd need to create it. And so you are going to have a knowledge of Excel. It does work in exactly the same as the Excel application you'd have on your kind of computer if you downloaded it and you use it in that kind of way. See that this is me basically making changes. You'll see that's, if somebody else was here, you'd see what they're doing. But yeah, you do need to have that Excel knowledge for it to be truly effective. And you would also need to create things from scratch and templates from scratch and store them. And it's all about how you would think about keeping files together. And I use this on a day-to-day basis with my organization, and it can get complex. So do consider that. You're going to have a lot of different chats, a lot of different teams and things like that. So you do need to really think about how you organize your work. Now, if I go back into here, we are going to look at pricing next, because obviously that's going to play a big role in what you decide to do. Maybe you've got a small budget, maybe you've got a really large budget, and in that case it may not be, this may not actually matter. It might even be you may work for an organisation and they may be paying for it anyway. Nevertheless, you might need to approve some budget. So let's just quickly look at the differences. So on first glance, you will see here that Asana is more expensive. So the premium account with Asana is £9.49 a month. As you can tell from my accent, I'm British, and therefore this is in pounds. So I believe it's going to be around $11 or $12 if you are in the States, and I think that's with the current conversion. But yeah, it might be slightly different, so do bear that in mind. Now the advanced aspect of Teams is $9.40, so it's actually cheaper going for the highest level tier with Teams in the business aspect. In both cases, consider this is per user. So say you've got 10 users, then obviously you're going to be looking at £90 or £95 here and £90 here. So it is on an individual user basis. But I think one other thing I would quickly mention here is the free account. So Asana's free or basic account is actually very, very good. You get a lot for free. It's only more of the advanced functionality where you would probably need to upgrade to premium, whereas Teams, the free version is very, very basic, and then you're going to quickly get into the paid pricing. So you could probably do a lot in the basic plan of Asana compared to what you can do in the free of Microsoft Teams, and you're probably going to have to upgrade. So the basic probably actually compares with the Teams Essentials. So it's actually free versus £3 in many respects. So do consider that. As you'll see here, I don't know if you can see, I might need to zoom in. But yeah, you're quite limited in terms of your storage, the amount of meeting. You can only hold 60 minutes of meetings. There's a limit on participants, and yeah, it's just quite limited. So do consider that. So I'd say price, in terms of pricing, Asana kind of comes out on top. Now this is for businesses. You may be an individual, and you'll notice that it is slightly cheaper, and your kind of use case is slightly different. For Microsoft Teams, you're looking at an individual person license around £6 a month if you wanted that advanced functionality. But you do get things like Word, Excel, PowerPoint kind of included in that. So that's something else to consider as well. But in terms of pricing, they're actually quite evenly matched. Asana, the free plan, definitely does more. Otherwise, you're kind of looking at, you're looking at a kind of similar kind of price really. In some respects, Asana is more expensive, but personally, I think Asana's probably got a better pricing plan on the whole. Now, other customer reviews. So what have other people said about it? So what I've done here is I've pulled in some of the common online review platforms, some of the big established ones where individual contributors provide their kind of reviews. I just wanted to give you an idea of what other people think, because you know, I'm a project manager. I've got over 15 years of experience and I've used both tools. However, it's always good to see what other people are saying as well. So I've included G2 Crowd and Capterra, two popular websites here. And as you'll see here, they're both kind of similar in some respects. You've got a 4.5 star afforded to Asana and G2 Crowd, and a 4.5 star given to Microsoft Teams. Obviously, Microsoft Teams has been given more reviews. It does have more users, so I mean that is to be expected. But they are both kind of granted this top 50 project management certification in terms of how good they are. And then if we look at this next one, which is quite interesting, in terms of the 5-star, 4-star, etc., it's also very, very similar. They both have got quite a big lineage towards the 5-star, and then a smaller amount of the 4-star as well. So you know, they're quite even here. And if we're looking at the actual Capterra, what they kind of give their kind of buckets of different review criteria, Asana actually got a 4.5, whereas Teams got a 4.4. Ease of use is actually quite the same. Customer service actually comes out on top with Asana, so that's really, really interesting. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an overview of some other opinions. I'd actually head into G2 Crowd or even Capterra just to have a look for yourself if you're really interested in looking into the weeds and the nitty gritty of what people say about it. They're quite good places to compare, so just consider that as well. Now, my recommendations, before I leave you, I did say at the start, I'm going to give you some recommendations of what I think's, you know, best for who. I would say that Asana is best for those actually looking for a project management solution first and foremost. I'd also suggest it for those who are looking for automation, pre-created templates and workflow capabilities. I didn't include it on the list here. I'd actually recommend Asana for anyone who doesn't have Microsoft experience or doesn't know how to kind of build templates from scratch. As an example, if you don't have any project plan templates and you need to build them all out, that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of learning as well. You need to learn how to use formulas and maybe even macros. So I think for the most part, depending on your expertise, I think Asana is actually the best for most individuals. Teams is, as I've said, those with experience or knowledge of Microsoft Office products such as Word or Excel. And I'd say maybe if messaging and communication is your main thing, then that probably, that weights to Teams as well, particularly if you want to have video calls or conferences or those kind of things, and maybe Teams is best for that. But either way, I mean, if you click the links in the description, there's one for Asana. If you head over there, you can get that free account, and you can explore for yourself. You can see exactly what the tool does, and you can play with it like I have. I'll also drop a link down below for Teams as well, and you can kind of sign up for a free account and explore it as well. So that's what I would actually suggest you do. I would visit the links in the description below, and I would play with both tools and see what's best for you. It doesn't take long. You might have your preferences when doing so, but yeah, these are my recommendations, but that's how you truly know. I mean, deep down, you probably know what's going to be best for you depending on your needs, your organization, what you need to do. But if you are a project manager, I would say Asana. So I hope this video was useful. If it was, please do hit the like button. That tells me it was, and I should continue making videos like this. If you've got any questions or comments, or you want to share some feedback on either of the two tools, then the comment section down below is for you there. And do consider subscribing to my channel. I've got a lot of videos comparing different project management tools and the tutorials on how to use different tools as well, along with just general project management content. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then do subscribe and hit the bell button, and you'll be notified when I release videos like this. And with all of that said, I hope you have an excellent day.